nobody ever says, I'm so thankful that I just blew your games for that client meeting, right? Nobody says that. And so, and honestly, like nobody at the end of their days, nobody even remembers the name of that client, but we on autopilot, do that on a daily basis. And speaking to the old version of me, it was like, well, I can't do that because I have this. And honestly, I can't remember today what that was, but I wish I could have that memory that I missed because I would still remember that moment. And so Father First is just bringing awareness that we don't have to repeat the mistakes of the Father. We can change.
Hello, George. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
Yes, I'm great. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Beautiful, my man, and thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate you. And you see, George, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, my man, I want to say thank you so very much for investing in yourself. You see, George, you are on this platform right now because you did invest it in yourself. And oftentimes, my man, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. Say some couple of months back, George, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I use the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, George, just recently I was on that same road. And this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree, you see. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance. And immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did, and it wowed me. Because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches. And not just mangoes now, George. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely experience that day, I tell you, man. And I was so, so excited. There's my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing George that you are today, that alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing. Your philosophies, your insight, the impact your work is having, and how you are offering your solutions. These stuffs are beautiful. And just before I sent you that request, my man, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from this beautiful thing George is doing. And not only me now, because I don't want to be selfish, and even with the audience. And here we are today with the amazing George. So thank you so, so very much for doing that yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thanks so much, my man.
Oh, no. Thank you, Elisha. I appreciate that. And thank you for, seeing the vision and appreciating it and the kind words and the beautiful vision. It's awesome. I'm super excited to be
Beautiful,
here.
my man. Thank you too, man. So let's get started. You see, I am quite excited to have you on the show today, George, for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, George, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information. And you see, my man, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the incredible judge on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, my man, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got a lot of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, George, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, my man, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how George got here. Then afterwards, I've got into some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Judge, my man, over to you.
Awesome, Elisha. Appreciate that. Yeah, excited, like I said, to be here and share the story, and yeah, hopefully just share some wisdoms. I've been doing this for 30 years. I started my business back when I was in high school. I was 17 years old, so this is 1995, long time ago. And I saw this show on a late night TV about just making money from home, and I remember thinking, oh, that'd be nice. I'm kind of young, but whatever, I'll buy it. So I took my mom's credit card, I bought the product, and I received it, and I started applying it. It didn't work, didn't make money, but it inspired me to continue to seek a solution to have my own business. And rewind a little bit before, because this will be a kind of leading to how I got to where I am today. So, when I was in, just a few years prior in middle school and early high school, I was an athlete. I played basketball, I played baseball, and was enjoying it. I loved sports growing up, and but my dad never came to any of my games. It's like you always, as a kid, want to show your parents, hey, I'm good, I'm doing well, and then they praise you and give you love, and it's just like it goes both ways. And so from about 40 games, my dad only went to one game because he was very busy. He gave up he sacrificed family for his career, and he was a good medical doctor, like one of the best in the area. And I was very proud of that. But I remember when I would score a basket or make a good play, I had nobody cheering for me. When my friends and my teammates would score, their dads are there. Yay, that's my son, you go. And so I remember looking at another father and thinking, I wish he was my father. And again, I was young, and that would have crushed my father to hear me say that, to know that I was thinking that. And so, and I don't think my father, he was a good man. He was a good provider. He took us on nice trips, always had nice home and material things. But when I needed him the most, he wasn't there. He wasn't present. And so, and nobody, I don't think nobody does this on purpose. It's just how they just go, and they're on like autopilot in life. Anyway, fast forward about 20 years. So now this is 10 years ago, 2015, and he gets diagnosed with cancer. He's 67 years old. And it's interesting because just a couple years prior, he was my grandparents, his parents passed away in their mid 90s, like 95, 96 years old. And that's a long, good life. And so my father thought, oh, I have genetics on my side. I've got another 30 years to live. But he was diagnosed with cancer and given an expiration date of 6 months. And so when you know that you have this limited time, it makes you aware that we have to make the best of this time, you know and he made his peace with the Lord, so I was thankful for that. And one of the words that he told me at the very end before he passed away, he said, don't miss Leo's games, I missed too many of yours. And Leo's my son. He was just born earlier that year, and he was only 7, 8 months old at the time. And that hit me in two ways. First it was like, wow, I didn't even remember, like, the high school, the games missed, the feeling of wanting another dad. I thought that was suppressed, like never to be revisited again, just like long lost memory. But it came up when he said that, and I was like, wow. And it was like a beautiful, like, closure to that kind of open loop in my history. And then the next thing, I was thinking, wow, I'm repeating the mistakes that my father did. Now I am my father now, as far as missing moments. I was missing my son, walking and talking, and just first moments that I will never get back. And so I realized at that time, and then my father passed away a couple of weeks later, and he lovingly
So
agitated
sorry.
inside of me. Oh, no, it's good. He's in a great place now, but yeah, at the time it was challenging time because it was unexpected. But he lovingly agitated, or maybe inspired inside of me to make a change. But when you get this information and you realize, wow, I'm trading, for success, I'm sacrificing my family, it's hard to do a change immediately because I'm working 14, 16-hour days. When am I going to do this? It's like, okay, I'll figure it out tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow, and tomorrow never comes. And so fast forward about 3 years, it's 2018. My business is doing very well. It's doing close to $20 million in revenue. I mean, it is like a money printer. It's just printing money. And it if you would have told me that when I started my business, I would have thought, wow, yes, I've made it. I'm at the top of the world with success. But I was hating life because everything was dependent on me to keep the thing going. And so I had a team of 40 people, but everything kept rolling up to me. And the term is called being a bottleneck. It's like it comes to me and it gets stuck because I'm over here doing other things, and this is on hold over here until I can focus back over here. And my expertise is, like web sales, online marketing, copywriting, getting customers to buy your products, recurring revenue, all the fun money making side of online business is my expertise. I don't like the operation stuff, the administrative stuff. Now that's very important. Somebody has to do it, but it shouldn't be me doing both, because the same brain cannot be good at both. It's just two different ways of thinking. And so, but I would be stressed out because I have to pay vendors, I have to validate invoices, because if you don't double check invoices, it could be a six-figure mistake. You're overpaying, and they're not going to pay you back if you make a mistake. That's just how it is. And so it was a lot of stressful feeling. And I called my friend, who's my mentor and coach at the time, and I just told him, there are some days that I just hate this business and I'm not enjoying life and I'm stressed out. Yes, I'm providing for my family. I'm giving them all the good stuff that, material success brings, but I'm not present, for the moments that matter for my family. And he pretty much made me kind of walk back of almost like sabotaging my business, because when your heart isn't in it, naturally you're going to sabotage it, not on purpose, but you're just not enjoying life and you're going to shy away from the things you don't like, and it just doesn't work out well. And so he told me, we need to keep you doing the things that you're very good at, and we need to remove you from doing the things you don't like to do. And I thought, well, I have 40 people. Why am I still doing these things? And that basically became the foundation of what I'm talking about now, about buying back time. So fast forward 3 more years. So now it's 2021. I implement all of the frameworks. We've, kind of stress tested it, I guess you could say. And the business more than doubled. It was near $50 million, but I had more free time than ever. So the old me working, 80, 90-hour weeks, the new me sometimes not working at all for months. It's almost like semi-retired. But when I would work, it was like very part-time, just like on the things that is my expertise. And in addition, I was able to spend time with my family. We travel all over the country, all over the world. I was buying, real estate, rental properties, Airbnbs, buying other businesses, and pouring a lot into my son, being present for him. And we homeschool our son, so he doesn't go to the regular school system. He's trained in educating at home. And so when we learn about something that he's studying, we can go visit it. And it like brings education to life. It brings, history and geography to life. And instead of like the other way is go to school, you read about it and you forget about it because you don't see it or anything. And so another thing is that I taught him how to negotiate real estate. So I told him, and he's 8 years old. So I told him, here are the 3 things you need to tell them, and let's see what they say, just to get him involved in early on into thinking on how, how business and entrepreneurship is. And then, so that's 2021, 2022. And then over the last 2-3 years, I've had multiple friends and peers in different networks. They don't talk to each other, just different pockets of people that I know tell me, you have to teach this stuff. You have to teach people how you're able to travel and live this great lifestyle while you're still making money and while you're still present for your family. And I thought, well, I don't know. I'm not a coach. And, there's coaches out there that all they do is coach, but they have no experience in what they're coaching. But they know mechanics and they know how to sound like they know what they're doing. And that's fine. No judgment. But I am a doer. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a coach. I just do what I do. And so over the last 6 months, I would say the idea of incorporating frameworks and strategies to buy back time really came into play, because when you can buy back time, you have time to do other things and your business maintains or increases. In my case, it increased a lot. And so this is applicable to anybody who's, right now they're the bottleneck in their business and they want to be free. Like in my case, I like the phrase cash rich, but time poor, sacrificing success, or I'm sorry, sacrificing your family for business success. That was the old me. The new me is now different. So, so yeah, you can use these strategies to buy back time for whatever it is that you're passionate about. I'm, father first, family first. So my story will appeal to other fathers who are in the same situation where I was 10 years ago, sacrificing for business success. And they think, well, I'm a provider. I give them good cars, good toys, good trips, but I don't need to be there, but I'm giving them all the good stuff. But I'm here to tell you, your children want more than that. They want you. They want your presence. Every boy wants to hear from their father that, I approve of you. You can do it, like motivate them. And then every, girl, every daughter wants to see the father, love them and treat them like a man should treat the daughter, so that when it's the daughter's turn to meet a man, a future husband, she can identify, this is not a good man. My father did not talk to women like that. My father did not, bully them, or whatever the situation. And or they can identify a good man. Say, wow, he's like my dad. He opens my door. He's respectful. He's kind to people. And so the whole point of everything I'm doing is basically to bring the man back into the home, to be present with the family, and the business does not have to sacrifice as a result. Oftentimes it goes up because of the frameworks we put in place. So I know I threw a lot out there at you, but happy to go deeper on anything.
I tell you, this is really beautiful and very, very important because there are a lot of fathers who are cash rich and time poor. I tell you, and the fact that you you started this journey, you want to share the framework and the systems with fathers, with folks, that tells a lot about the kind of person you are. And when you said you felt like overwhelming and you had to consult your friend who was your mentor at the time, and he was able to, help you through that. That's a beautiful one because there are a lot of people who they could be going through some certain situation and it will never occur to them to seek help. They believe, well, I'm going to sort it out myself. I'm going to sort it out myself. So the fact that you did seek help, you went after insight, that's a beautiful one. And another part of it is the mistake your dad made unknowingly, and you decided you were going to be the change. And now you said you're giving your son a whole lot of time, you're paying attention to your children. That's also important. Because you see, I tell you, man, I wish I wish you had started this stuff way longer and I knew you way longer when I was with my dad and my mom. Because you see, my dad also, we don't even it get to a point where I can say I don't really recognize him anymore. Because once he goes to work, he returns back home very late at night, and before we set to go to school, he's off to work again. We only see each other at weekends. And I feel like this stuff is very important because it plays an important role in the upbringing of the children. There are a lot of kids now that have become so wayward because their fathers weren't present, right? I tell you, man.
Hmm.
I tell you.
Hmm.
So I love what you're doing. I love what you're doing. It's a beautiful one. So you've answered almost all of my questions except two. And you were trying to talk about it briefly, but I want you to talk more on it. So what does being a father first founder mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, it just means being present for your family. It means imparting your wisdom, your knowledge, and just like having this desire to be aware and present for your family, because this is a generational thing, like, and I don't fault men who right now there's men, they're on autopilot, and because their father was the same way and their father. So it's no judgment, no fault. But what I like to say is, okay, now now you're aware that it doesn't have to be that way, and now you have to make a decision. Do I want to continue this way, or do I want to stop and say, it's not going to be perfect, but do I want to start now so that I quit missing the moments that matter? Because one thing that I like to say, because I experienced it with my father, the deathbed confession, nobody ever says, I'm so thankful that I just blew your games for that client meeting, right? Nobody says that. And so, and honestly, like, nobody at the end of their days, nobody even remembers the name of that client, but we on autopilot, do that on a daily basis. And speaking to the old version of me, It was like, well, I can't do that because I have this. And honestly, I can't remember today what that was, but I wish I could have that memory that I missed, because I would still remember that moment. And so yeah, it's just, yeah, father first is just bringing awareness that we don't have to repeat the mistakes of the father. We can change. And another message I like to say is, don't let, iPhones and iPads raise your children, because they're going to seek, wisdom from somewhere, and you don't want it to be the wrong kind of, I say wisdom, but it's not wisdom if it's the wrong thing. And kids these days are being exposed to the dirtiest, darkest things on the internet at a very young age. And once that gets implanted in the brain, it's almost impossible. It will take divine help to clean that brain. And so it's also part of like just rotting of the mind. And so I think a present father being there for their children helps avoid that. It's going to give the child confidence, because they know that their parents are supporting them. And yeah, and I think it just sets the stage for them to also repeat that. It shows them an example of how they should be when it's their turn to have a family. So yeah, I hope I answered that question.
Yeah, you did, my man. You did. So, what about the OS? I mean, the Father
Yeah.
First Owner OS, and how does it work?
Yeah, so the OS, and there's a lot of components to it, but some simple ones. And OS stands for operating system. It's just kind of an interesting name to put some business terms, mixing it with father, because this is language they understand. They understand operating system. So we're going to say the father first operating system. And so one small example of that is we're going to create something what's called a season pass. And that's another term that's kind of phrased for this program, and that's non-negotiable moments that you will not miss. Like, we're going to schedule in your children's games. Maybe it's to take them to school or to pick them up, but something that involves activity with their children, so that they can start imparting, sharing their wisdom, or just being present. I'm sure some men are like, wow, I don't even know my kids. They're 8 or 10 years old. I don't even know them because I've been away so long. So like, where do I even start? It's like, just start being there. And it might seem strange at first, because this is a new habit, but over time you'll develop the comfort and the peace to continue that, and they're going to see that you are there for them as a father. And so yeah, the owner operating system, or the father operating system, helps them start implementing those small steps, and eventually it's going to be a way of life. So non-negotiable means we are not missing this moment for anything. So just like you as a businessman, you'll schedule client meeting and you don't miss that for anything. That's the same as picking up my son from school or going to his basketball game. Like, we're not missing that. That's in the calendar and set in stone. So that's just one example of it.
Beautiful, and I got that. So, to bring this to an end, Judge, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those folks who like to reach out to you, learn more about the wonderful stuff you're doing, or even ask you questions, or maybe you've inspired some fathers and they want to reach out to you. How can that be possible?
Absolutely. Yeah. So, as far as kind of my contact information could be found on my website, buybacktimeformula.com. There you'll see all of my social links and emails and contact information. And hey, I encourage anybody who has any questions to reach out. I have a book. It's free. Just help me pay for shipping. It's a thick book. It's 128 pages, and it has all the frameworks that I discussed. And other people, when they sell or present a book, they sort of like give you little bits of information, and then, but you want more, go here and buy my big thing. My goal is that everybody who reads my book, they don't need to buy anything else. This should be the last book you ever need on how to implement these frameworks. Now, if you need help, I'm here and I can offer more assistance, but it's all in the book. And my goal is that it helps change lives. Yeah. And as far as like a final message or parting words, I would just say, stop missing the moments that matter. And my goal in life for me personally, and to impart on other men, is that by the time we get to the end of our days, of course, we're all going to think, oh, I could have done this better, or I could have done this better. But when I realized that there was a different way, I made the decision to stop. And now I'm content with where I am in life. And now my children love me. They're repeating the good things that I did, generational impact, and you're just at peace in your heart about it. And because I've seen too many men regret their life. Like, my father's biggest regret became my biggest mission. And so I encourage people to stop missing the moments that matter. If you didn't know before, well, now you know.
Beautiful words. Your father's biggest regret became your biggest mission. Wow, that was
Amen.
profoundly said, and I got that.
Thank you. Yes.
So that's gonna be the end of the show, Judge. Thank you for coming and thank you for
Yes.
sharing this beautiful stuff with us, man. It means a whole lot. Thank you.
Thank you, Elisha. Appreciate it. Thank you.